I will hereby attempt to give a brief sketch of a speculative distant future and the human civilization that may inhabit it. If we assume that technological, sociological, political, and cultural evolution and progress continues into the distant future, what kind of society might our distant descendants live in? Civilization will gradually move towards a largely solar-powered society. The Earth receives about 1/1000th of the Sun's energy, and humans utilize about 1/1,000,000th of that. But our energy growth is rising exponentially. A technologically advanced race, reaching the limit of civilization's expansion, because of dwindling matter and energy supplies, would seek to exploit ever more of their sun's output. Swarms of autonomous solar electric-powered drones with nuclear reserves, perhaps only a meter or two in length, sent from Earth will mine our asteroids, assemble materials, and construct our solar power plants like Dyson spheres, interstellar spacecraft, and cities in space. The swarms could assemble to form a mass driver, a sort of electromagnetic catapult. Using nuclear power, they could extract chunks of the asteroid itself and accelerate them to boost the asteroid in the opposite direction, in order to propel large asteroids into arbitrary orbits for mining of raw materials. These materials would enable us to create megastructures in space to fuel our ambitions. Asteroids could also be hollowed out to form rotating cylinder habitats in space. With such large amounts of energy at our descendants' disposal, combined with material abundance, our distant descendants will be much wealthier than we are today, simply due to the increased power production and material resources of a future society. The price of the necessities of life will cost a fraction of what they do today. Elaborate 3D printers and self-replicating nanobots could be used to create pretty much any material item that they need, creating a truly economically abundant society. More than just having material wealth though, future civilizations will be much safer than today's, which as a resident of the south side of Chicago cannot come soon enough. I'm optimistic to think that people will be more emotionally intelligent also, better educated on the subject and more able to interpret and communicate their inner psyche, and the many problems we face in our relationships with others. I'm of the opinion that the government and politics will play a very small role in future societies. One of the staples of sci-fi are concepts of imperialistic galactic empires. However, these are unlikely to become a reality, in my opinion, simply because the distance between solar systems in the galaxy is far too great. Federations and agreed trade routes are far more likely to form between spacefaring civilizations. Greater affluence combined with increased personal power, ability, and exponentially increased lifespan will allow our descendants to live fulfilling, purposeful lives, and enable them to explore just about their every whim and desire. If you spent 40 years working in IT, perhaps if you're adventurous, you'll choose to take a few years off to explore your desire to become a working actor, for example. When I was in college studying science, there was a distasteful snobbishness I felt from science and engineering students towards students of the humanities. However, I believe that the humanities will be properly venerated in the future, as vital lessons on how to think and how to live. In 1 billion years, the human race will have to migrate out into space if it's going to survive due to the sun's increased output, rendering life on Earth uninhabitable on the surface. Our descendants could live in floating cities in space, or travel to other solar systems. Because distances between the stars are so vast, and the number of unsuitable, lifeless solar systems so large, the most efficient method to explore interstellar space would be to send fleets of von Neumann probes throughout the galaxy, named after John von Neumann, who established the mathematical laws of self-replicating systems. A von Neumann probe is a robot designed to reach distant star systems and create factories which will reproduce copies of themselves by the thousands. A dead moon rather than a planet makes the ideal destination for von Neumann probes, since they can easily land and take off from these moons, and also because these moons have no erosion. These probes would live off the land using naturally occurring deposits of iron, nickel, etc. to create the raw ingredients to build a robot factory. They would create thousands of copies of themselves, which would then scatter and search for other star systems. Perhaps in the distant future, humans will opt to map their connectome and convert their consciousness into binary to live as digital people existing in the cloud and able to traverse space and time at the speed of light. Freed of their material body, they could morph into virtual or harness physical surrogates and explore the universe. with exponentially increased power capabilities of a society a billion years into the future. Harnessing the energy output of many, many stars throughout the galaxy, it is feasible to create interstellar highways, Alcubierre warp drives, and even two-way traversable wormholes within our universe and potentially even to other universes, allowing a sufficiently advanced society to perhaps escape even the death of our universe. In 1988, physicist Dr. Kip Thorne showed that with enough negative energy, it might be possible to stabilize a black hole so that a wormhole becomes traversable. So with enough energy, you could focus gamma rays at a point in space to create a black hole. Then with sufficient negative energy, you could hypothetically stabilize the gateway to create a portal through space. Civilizations with this level of power at their disposal would be godlike compared to contemporary civilization, though true immortality would still elude them. Only an infinite, traversable multiverse would offer immortality, and no understandable physical quantity could be infinite, though they might be able to prolong it exponentially. Eventually, not even a godlike civilization could evade death, which makes life all the more ephemeral and poetic. Of course, this is all speculative, though within the laws of physics. The progress of society and technology is not guaranteed. Perhaps humans will be wiped out before any of these distant futures can be realized, and even if the human race survives into the distant future, there's no guarantee that the future I speculate is the future that will exist. But conjecture on this topic is not mere idle speculation. It gives us vision of what might be possible if we take appropriate action. As Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it.